Frank?
Dynamite.
Frank, come on in, man. Can I Be Frank is all about capturing real, authentic, unedited conversation. Please do consider supporting the process of podcasting and video making on Patreon or through PayPal.
How are you doing?
I will put some links in the description
really
below.
Good, Frank.
Thanks a
I
mil.
appreciate you having me on.
That's pretty cool.
I've been following you for a little while now. I've a little bit of a fan.
Sorry, honestly, that sounds hilarious to me. It's,
I actually do. I genuinely find your podcasts of real interest.
yeah.
I find them fascinating. I like that they're unrehearsed, that they just happen on the fly. It's great.
Yeah, I suppose that is the idea, because I hate the idea of preparing for things, or, because if it's scripted, then I definitely am not capable of multitasking and hearing what somebody's saying to me. I just can't, so if I had questions, I'd just be going, okay, so when do I ask it? I just can't, when do I ask the follow-up question? So this is the only way I can do it. But no, it's pretty cool. Like, I just like the fact that you popped in out of nowhere the last few days. It's kind of nice. I like kind of how that can happen with this sort of.
That was courtesy of my partner. I didn't know until this morning that she had contacted you, actually. So it came also as a surprise to me.
All right, very good. Yeah, it is kind of interesting, even that this sort of thing. If you these sorts of conversation, like if you say, for example, tried to promote it, or if you were that way inclined that you wanted to kind of get this thing out there, it should be just ludicrous. But somehow it seems to these sorts of chats, somehow people seem to be interested in them, and they seem to just kind of seep their way out into the stratosphere. But I couldn't tell you how or why. It's like, the documentary thing I did. It's not whatever you want to call it. The 0 and 1. I just did it and put it up and didn't tell anybody about it, and then somehow it gets out there. I find it interesting.
Yeah, it just seems to be what happens. It's beautiful. It's just the universe doing its thing, which is what Darrell Bailey. Have you heard of Darrell Bailey?
I know of Darrell. I remember hearing Darrell. I've seen him on Conscious TV.
Right. Yeah. So he talks about the universe being its literal meaning just being an undivided turning, which is a beautiful analogy for basically what this is, and kind of what it seems to be doing, because it's not moving, which is incredible. That it even appears at all is just like, wow. Yeah. But that when I first heard him mention that undivided turning, which is the term of the literal meaning of the word universe, it literally is just like the starting of a movie as we wake up, say, from sleep. It's just movie starts, so everything's moving in it's one single event, one movement. But what is actually doesn't move itself. It's just totally stationary. Whatever that is, it's unknowable. But everything's rising or appearing or being. It's being whatever's appearing. Yeah. So there's no separation. It's not like it's sharing. This appearance is happening somewhere else. It is being this, and it's wow.
Yeah, when I hear the word universe, I always used to think, okay, well, where is the universe in then? Because I would think of the universe as a thing, as opposed to universe. That this is we're in a universe, but then what's outside the universe, and where's the universe?
Well, nothing. I mean, in terms of that description, and it's meaningless, but it's basically just saying that it's just one thing. You know, we have a word in language that we use which represents that everything, which is universe.
Yeah.
And that word represents everything that there is. And we tend not to we tend not to really grasp that you know, just that this is just happening. It's one event. It's a single event, and it's appearing out of no thing. And we're not separate. There's no one separate from that. And even the knowing or the talking about the universe is the no thing. Having this conversation. There's nothing that's not it. So literally, this conversation is just that no thing appearing as this conversation. There's nothing else going on. But what is literally unknowable, because you could say it's priormost. It's the fundamental principle. It's that which cannot not be not. It has to be there in order for this to appear. But itself, it's not appearing, and yet it is. It is and it isn't. It's we can hear the non-dual. I mean, it's not non-dual. It's not duality. it literally is unknowable. But we hear those terms is and isn't, real and unreal. You know, the formless forming, and that's kind of they're just descriptions to really point to that nothingness that is appearing as this, whatever this is. But it has no need to appear. There's no meaning to it. Nothing leads to nothing. It just seems to be what's happening. And it's kind of amazing.
So what we are talking about then is just what is, right? We're talking about this here, which is not like a popular, the very fact that there is this. We're talking about this happening.
Yeah, whatever this is, yeah. And I mean, we can't actually talk about this because there's nobody in this with an opinion. It is whatever these words are, and they're a mystery, wherever they're arising from, which is also a mystery. There's no getting behind the words to know what's doing these words or being whatever this is. You know, this just, it's so immediate. It's so everything. That is just, you know, there's no conversation we can have that will shed any light on what is, because any conversation is what is having that conversation. There's just nobody in this conversation. This conversation or this appearance is entirely empty.
I was chatting the other day to my kid, and I was it was kind of, we were talking about the idea of sounds, and that's somehow when, you know, words come out, there's meaning given to them. But, you know, for more or less for a dog hearing them, the dog just hears but within our conversation, somehow this flow of words seems to give sort of a meaning, and we take a meaning from them, and then there's understand, and you know, the way I look at the word is that somehow within these sounds that are coming out of my gob, there's a meaning given to them, and then there's a response back from that. But that's but we, in other words, try to give meaning to this happening, or try to understand or know. You know, I think your website's something unknowable, and it's, you know, the word unknowable for me in this world, I kind of go, well, yeah, but I still want to know what this is, because I feel that knowing will satiate this hunger, we'll say, even though a party kind of knows as well that, you know, no knowing or understanding can do that, but that's the energy to try and find, you know, if we're just talking about this aliveness, the mystery of whatever the fuck this is that's happening.
And there's nothing can be known about whatever this is, because whatever it is, it's constantly constant, which is a term, you know, that's used here to point to what is unknowable. It's constantly constant. It's never off. It's always on, whatever that means. I mean, it's just, even to say that is, you know, it sounds like I know something, but absolutely nothing here is known. Whatever this is, it's entirely happening by itself. There's nothing that anyone here is doing in order for these words to arise, for the meaning to be known, or, you know, the association of the words to be understood, for the listening to happen, for the response to happen. I mean, it's all in free fall. It's all just bang. But there's no one in that. There's no one in that knowing that. There's just whatever is constantly constant appearing as all these inconstant things. These words that just arise, hang around for, and then have gone. And the sounds are the same. You know, it's just all it's just madness. I mean, it's just insane that we're here and we can have this conversation, and there seems to be an understanding on both sides, and there seems to be an apparent separation, you know. I mean, I even get a sense that you're in Ireland, you know. There's no one here who feels like, I mean, there's even a person here, you could say. You know, there's a sense of being somebody here. It's not like the person fell away. It's just there's no person there. There's a sense. And just like there's a sense of separation, the perception is here. And it's no different from any, you know, I would say, from the perception there. But I think when people hear, you know, in the story, when this is heard, it seems to be like they're waiting for something to fall away in order to get that this is unknowable. They're waiting for somehow for perception to change, or, you know, a shift in consciousness, or
well, there's no point for somebody like me. I could say to you, yeah, no, I get that this is unknowable, and still I'll, you know, finish up the call with you and I'll go, it's knowing that it's unknowable is another kind of knowing, if you know what I mean. I know this unknowable. It's like it's kind of sort of a. If I was to say it, it would be different. I think it would be different because I'd have no conviction. I can't tell you for definite that it's not unknowable. But yet there is a part obviously that's drawn to something that's not bound by words, I suppose, or bound by knowing. But I'm a knowing thing in Majiggy. I'm into meaning and all that. Even though I don't want to be. But
well, that just seems to be what happens. You know, that we seem to be we seem to arrive in this bizarre place, and we seem to understand these words, and there seems to be, you know, we seem to have relationships, and we understand that we can see and we can hear, and we have feelings and we can express all that stuff. But really, there's just no way of knowing what any of that is. I mean, we can use these labels and we can call them words, and there seems to be an inherent meaning to the words. But, you know, I mean, in the story, we could also say that we were taught these words as children. And I'm looking at a table or a computer right now, and if I'd been taught different words when I was a child, I wouldn't have any problem calling this table a wibble wobble. It would just make sense that that's what that was.
Mm.
So the meaning is kind of, it just seems to grow as in the apparent stories it unfolds, but there's actually nothing is known. That we know these words and that there's a sense of there being a meaning, or a sense of an individual who's separate, a separate entity, who knows things. That's kind of the game that seems to, certainly here it's just unraveled. But why and how that happened, it doesn't even matter, because even to say it unraveled is just nonsense, because it's not like it unraveled for somebody. It didn't need to unravel. Whatever it is, it's always that. So whatever it's doing and why it's doing it, it doesn't matter.
So say this happening, right? This happening of this conversation, if that's what it's called, it's conversation, and yeah, I suppose is, even though you kind of get in your mind intellectually the idea of timelessness, and even spacelessness, and the reality of what that actually outside of the very thing that's happening, it's only an idea, everything outside it, and it's in a way you're still bound by. I am still bound by those sorts of sensations. That's the nature of being a person, really. And it's not like what am I trying to ask here? I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
I would say it's more the nature of being the appearance. There's no person in the appearance. There's no real person in the appearance. There might be a sense felt, a sensation of being someone who's separate, but that is just the appearance. And no one's making that happen. No one's doing that.
Yeah, it's fucking like, it's a bit mental. It's just mental because, see, everything it has, like, everything has a cause and an effect that you can see. You look around, and babies come from somewhere, and the plants come from somewhere, and everything comes from somewhere except this, we'll say. And even within this, we say, well, it's come from an explosion, or there's that doesn't. But you know what I mean? That we operate in this world of everything comes from somewhere, and it's going to go somewhere, and there's a finite amount of time, and then it'll pass and maybe change. But you look for source, or then you look for, well, there must be something beyond.
Nothing beyond, Frank.
What's that?
There's nothing beyond. There's nothing outside of everything. There's nothing outside of what is. There's only what is. And it's inclusive. It excludes nothing. And yes, that includes the apparent timeline of, say, a plant that's grown over time. But whenever you're looking at a plant, it's always immediate. And then there's maybe a story that goes with it, that it was once a seed. But the seed isn't present. It's just a thought that arises. And then from that immediacy, there's a sense of a timeline. But the planet is only ever seen as it's seen. In whatever happening seems to be happening, but there's only this happening, and it includes all of that. It includes the timeline. It includes the memories of having been a child. It includes aspirations for a future, but it's still only what is appearing as a past or a future. There's nothing beyond it. Where would somebody be? Where would they be standing in order to look back at everything? I mean, that gets back to the word universe, you know? It's like, you know, we've seen that, we've all seen the picture of the universe. You know, that swirling photograph of this is the photograph of the universe. But where's somebody stood to take that picture?
Yeah.
They're outside of the universe looking back at everything, but they're outside of it taking a photograph of everything. Well, where are they? If they're not in and part of that whole.
A couple of things came to mind. The first one was I should get bored with hearing there's only this, but I like the sound of that. I like when you said it there a few minutes ago. You know, there's just a couple of words. You should go, well, I should go. I've heard that before, but I kind of almost want you to say that again there when you said about there's only this. Yeah, you see, it's interesting because you see, even like it's saying, you say calling this, you say calling it you say calling, I'm calling our conversation non-duality. More people on the channel are interested in, we'll say, that subject, and but that makes it seem like a subject. If you know what I mean, it makes it seem like what we're talking about is what we're talking about. We're talking about this happening now, and in this happening right now, one of us is trying to find an explanation for it, and the other one is saying there's no explanation for it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, essentially, there's nothing happening.
Yeah.
What isn't moving. It looks like it's moving, but nothing's happening. And so, as soon as we objectify something, then we're just getting lost in a fantasy. But no one's getting lost in a fantasy. That just seems to be what happens. And that's just what is as well. That is nothing happening. Appearing as getting lost in a fantasy. Or a story, or whatever term we wish to use. But there's nothing happening. This is not going anywhere. It's not come from anywhere. It's causeless. It just is. I mean, you could even say that the scientists in their conversation about the Big Bang are kind of pointing to there is no thing. The Big Bang apparently was an explosion from nothing, and however many billions, 14 billion years ago, whatever it was in that story, and then everything from there has just been a cause and effect. And that, at any point in that story, it couldn't have been any other way. So that rules out free will and choice. I mean, even, you know, the two don't even match in terms of having cause and effect. If we believe in cause and effect, we can't possibly believe in free will and choice. One, they're just not, they just don't go together. They cancel each other out. So either we believe there's a cause and effect in the story, or we believe we have free will and choice. But both of those are a result of nothing if we go back to the very beginning, so to speak. But there's no beginning. This is it. This is the beginning. This is the Big Bang.
Mm.
And there's no one in it. There's no free will. There's no choosing. Everything's just happening the way it's happening. Thoughts are what they are. The words are what they are. The feelings are. Just everything's just appearing the way it's appearing, and no one's doing it. Not a single thing. And if there's a sense of someone doing something, that's also just what's happening. No one is doing that. It's an absolute mystery. And there's no one can figure this out. It really is unknowable. And that might sound like unknowable is something that's known, but it's not. When it's said, when it's being said here that it's unknowable, it's literally pointing to this is a complete mystery. No one can figure this out, because there is no one separate who can stand outside of everything and look back and go, that's what it is. So the conversation itself is totally meaningless.
Yeah.
We're never going to come to some ultimate conclusion about what this is. It just goes round and round and round.
Yeah.
You know, it might sound like I know something that you don't. Well, that's bollocks. I don't know Jack. But that's freedom. But it's not freedom for anyone. In a sense, it's just what it has always been.
Yeah.
And when I say it's freedom, I don't mean it's my freedom. It's not Alan's freedom. It's just freedom appearing like this, whatever this is. And it's not, it's not all rosy and bright. I mean, I have some pretty shitty days, Life just trudges along like it does for everybody else. I don't have any special insight, or I haven't come across some magic potion where my life's all sorted now. It just unfolds in the same way it always has done.
And I think in a way that's what's beautiful, even though that's making it sound like it's beautiful, but that's what's beautiful about this, what you're saying, in the sense that it just removes any idea of specialness or attainment or insight or somebody who can teach something, or somebody who seems to appear to know something. That's where it kind of just is, then we're back into a power structure of somebody who owns somebody who has inherited the world. What?
Like somebody has authority, or
exactly.
They know something.
Yeah,
that's not this.
No, which is obvious. It's great. Like, and I think brain. I think it's quite lovely that it's kind of like when I hear it's nobody's message and there's no authority. Sometimes it just can be so obvious that in certain ties to conversation that it can just be plainly obvious that cornflakes could be talked about and this could be talked about, and it's much importance on either. It's a kind of a certain sort of freedom to it that is yeah, it's just nice, I suppose.
Yeah.
But and at one point when you were talking, I had this thought in my head, but how do you know that it's unknowable? I was kind of, who told you that? Or where's the proof that it's unknowable? That was just came into my head. Sorry, just came back
Yeah,
there now. Because that's the kind of, where's the proof that it's unknowable? I want you with the proof.
Yeah, and the response could be, well, it's obvious.
Yeah.
It's so obvious that this is not known. It just can't be known. I mean, there would have to be someone separate who could really know something.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing separate. It's just one thing appearing as everything. And it's kind of, there's a level of insanity to it.
Danger, I suppose.
Well, I mean, just share that it seems to be, it's just craziness. It's like, I mean, I could ask the question why, but there's no why to it. It just is. But it's everything. So it's just, even this conversation, these words are utterly pointless. They're not going to resolve anything.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you anything, and there's nothing you can get because you don't need anything, because whatever this expression is, it's also that expression. But it's also the table and the taps and the bananas, and I mean, there's nothing that it isn't. So in that sense, it's kind of mad. And there's absolutely nothing to get. You know, I speak to people often about they're waiting for, I don't know, the person to fall away or the person to die. You know, and it's never going to happen because the one waiting is already that. Sharing this communication about, I'm just waiting for the person to die. You know, I'm waiting for this event to where something falls away and then I'll have it. But it's already that, saying all of that, waiting for all of that to happen. And that's the madness of it. It's like, yeah, why? Why not?
Yeah, fucking hell.
There's no one died, Shell. There was no big event. There was nothing fell away. There was nothing seen by somebody where suddenly it was all understood. It was just the confusion of it all, just the madness of it all, presented itself as unknowable in however that kind of manifested. But it was just seeing that nothing's happening. No one saw that. It just became obvious.
Sometimes years ago, when I used to look at my kids pottering around the place, just, trying to negotiate getting from A to B and not falling over. And, you'd be there trying to, oh, fuck, they're going to walk, bang into this, or they're going to fall over here. And sometimes they would fall, and sometimes they just, but there's, the doership. I suppose you can see in a way that all that's happening there is just this innocent happening. and the idea of knowing things or knowing the world or knowing mother and father, just not that movement of knowing, having to know things is not there. More or less, it's not there until it's there. And then there does seem to be then, like, you hear these expressions of losing heaven and or whatever in this life but it seems to be just this. It's not obviously just thought, but it is beliefs and everything that kind of just comes together in this big ball of nothingness. This it tries to figure shit out or whatever. And it just. But sorry, what I'm saying is that I can see when you're talking there, you get that real strong sense of the ordinariness again of this sort of chat. That it's not special. It's not important. It's just maybe too subtle. Maybe I am looking for something, but. I still, when I'm here chatting to you, I don't get the feeling of that you can give me anything, which is, I never get that feeling really, which is nice because, you don't know what you're looking for really. It's just, you're looking.
Well, you're not looking for anything. There's no one there who's a seeker. It's just part of the appearance. There's no one there called Frank seeking the ultimate, non-dual finding. It's this. It's this conversation. It's these words. It's the hearing of these words. It's any response or no response. It's the happening around you, the walls and the furniture. It's all of that. It's the computer. And simultaneously, it's none of it. But no Frank there, no seeker. Nothing to get. This is it. This is everything.
Sometimes when I'm having these conversations, then all of a sudden, just hearing such a way, I feel this. It's only bullshit, but I feel sadness for no reason. When I hear it, like it kind of, I'm not particularly sad about anything. I just feel this. Oh, I could start crying, but I don't even. It's not really that. Not sad about anything, but now even talking about it or saying that out loud is kind of trying to make something of feeling sad. But that's just an occurrence, really. When I hear this, like I was doing something the other day, I heard something from Kenneth, something in a meeting that I recorded with Kenneth, and Kenneth said in the meeting it's pretty clear there's no individual being recognized. There's no individual talking. There's just no individuals there because it's so obvious. There's nothing separate or something like that. And obviously, you hear those words, and then suddenly you hear them, and you kind of go, "Oh, this ache." And I don't want to be sad, but then I'm sad hearing this sort of shit.
Sadness happens.
Yeah.
Sadness happens here too. There's no escaping what's happening.
It kills. I was going to say it kills conversation, but it can. It can kill conversations too. This sort of discussion, you know what I mean? Because it's so ordinary. Just talking about what's happening, the person wants to. I want to find out. Oh, there must be something more, and then I hear, well, it's just what's happening, and then there's an ease with that, I suppose. You know, I don't know.
It is a conversation killer.
Yeah, it's a conversation killer. It's great in that sense, I suppose. If you're out in the pub, it's it's a way to empty the room, I suppose. You can see, like, I got a few emails about blah blah blah. This is just bullshit, and blah blah blah. This is. It doesn't bother me necessarily, but
it kind of is bullshit, Frank, as well.
yeah.
I mean, the conversation just doesn't go anywhere.
It is actually bullshit. Yeah, it is.
But it's as much bullshit. Yes, as much bullshit as talking about soccer or or anything else for that matter. It's all nonsense. And one thing's no different from anything else. It's not like having this conversation is better than talking about cars. It's not. It's the same thing. Having that conversation, whatever that same thing is, whatever that is, that unknowable everything is.
Yeah, and I think really that's the anarchy of it. Maybe that's why I like it as well, is the nothing is important. Nothing is sacred. And because once you start going down that road, everything then becomes a thing and has to be held on to, and it's almost just, ugh. It becomes... oh, this is an important chat about non-duality. And for a while, I would have had that idea. I think I would have had that idea that, we're going to chat about this now. So, not that I would have started crossing my fucking legs or, chanting beforehand, but I would have put it in my mind as a thing as opposed to, it's... I brace myself in a way for it, too. I can't.
Yeah, but you're not doing that, obviously. That's just what's happening.
Yeah. That's the free fall again, then, really, isn't it? That's this unbridled happening that's uncontrollable, even though it feels like it's being controlled by somebody who's talking and knowing it and understanding it and grabbing onto it and is the voice of this and the voice of the reason and decides what can be said and not going to be said, and trying to relate to here and there and all that shit. That's happening in free fall too. It just appears like somebody is controlling it.
It's part of the appearance. Yeah, that's somebody who's doing that. The doer is just part of. It's just one part of everything. It is everything. And so in that sense, it is just this uncontrollable free fall where everything just lands simultaneously. It's just a single event.
Do you know the idea that it's always beginning, or You know that this is always beginning. You said there a while ago about this is the Big Bang.
Yeah, it has no beginning now. It's because it's constant. It's never off, so there's no beginning to it. It's entirely empty.
Whew, fucking hell.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Yeah. You see, yeah, you kind of come to a point where or not you come to a point, but you say nothing, even nothing can be objectified. It's, oh, nothing. So nothing must be a something, or, nothing must be a different sort of a thing. Everything seems to be just trying to make something of nothing, or trying to make something of empty. When you said empty there, it was kind of empty for a moment. Then is it a different sort of empty? Or is it, because the brain just goes, well, okay, you tell me nothing and empty, and I just want to go, okay, yeah, but
Except you're not doing that. That is the emptiness that's been spoken about, appearing as that. It's not even appearing as that, it's being that. I mean, appearing kind of here seems to leave a little bit of distance, the word appearing. But it's actually being. So it's no thing being something. So in that sense, there's no separation.
this a thought there. How can nothing can't know itself? How can nothing, if there is no source, or so that means it can't be known then?
No. What is, we can't talk about what is. Because there's just no one to talk about it. Anything that we say is already what is. So it doesn't help us to have this conversation.
No.
No, because there is no us.
There is no us. Say that again.
No, there's just no one. There's just that unknowable appearing as something known or being known. In clarity, is it? Confusion, is it? Am I getting it? Is it? I'm not getting it. That's it.
That's brilliant. I shouldn't like that. Oh, for fuck's sake.
So it's a complete mystery.
Hmm. The way that the way the world works for the most part is uh, structures and power structures and things of, you know, people who can show you the way to get from A to B, or they know something or have acquired something or wealthy here or have this or whatever. And it's in this sort of, I'm not making anything of it, but I can say, you know, that again, the freedom comes up, I suppose, in the agendalessness of this communication. It's obvious that, you know, you're not trying to convince me of anything or, you know, sell me anything or show me the way. Yeah, I just like that. That's sometimes, you know, for so long I would have been and still do theoretically trying to figure this out, but it's I come to the more and more I seem to be coming to that sense of, oh, soon I'm not going to say anything on these fucking podcasts. I'm going to be so battered. But you know, I'm so killed. I don't know what the fuck I was yammering on about there. So you give talks about this in Perth?
Yeah. Do I? No. I mean, I'll respond if a question. I don't go around talking about this. It's pointless.
Yeah.
It's just, it's nonsense. It's gibberish. So if somebody comes and, you know, they're insisting on having a talk or you know, looking into this, then yeah, there may or may not be a response here. But I wouldn't say I give talks. No, no one gives, not here. No one gives talks here. Talking may happen now. A response may arise if somebody's really pressing the point. But in most cases, I'd rather go to the beach. I'd rather lie on the beach, you know, and just do that than to talk about this nonsense. I mean, it's ridiculous. Why anyone even wants to hear this is kind of, you know, hard to fathom. But it's just what's happening.
Yeah, but still, obviously, then for some, maybe the idea that there's nothing to get and there's nowhere to go and there's no, that it's already done. Sometimes to hear those sorts of words or whatever, you know, it's not that there's something in it, but there's something that you're kind of drawn to. You can't help yourself be drawn to that sort of, you know, this sort of conversation like this, the idea of life happening, something instead of nothing can be quite striking sometimes. It can be quite fucking what the fuck is this? And so in that, then there's a bit of a, you know, an appetite to want to talk about it, maybe, or
Yeah, absolutely.
maybe to be fair, to try and get something to even something, you know.
Yeah. But there's no option, there's no choice here. There's no independent choice for Alan to be sat here having this conversation. It's just what's happening. Yeah. And the questions come, the responses come, and the silence happens, and everything else is just happening. And it's just so immediate. It just bang. There's no space for somebody to be in that. Firing all the synapses in order to generate the next thought so they can respond, accordingly. There's just no space for anyone to be doing whatever's happening.
But yet you can get a feeling like when you're talking about this too. On the other hand, there is a bit of a joy when the words come out from you. There seems to be a bit of joy talking about this too. Like
maybe more of a surprise. I think a surprise. It's it's a stunning communication. Because it's unlike anything else, but it's not stunning as in special. But it's just it has a unique quality to it. So it's always a surprise when it's heard here as well. It's always like I'm hearing it for the first time. It's always fresh. That there's nothing. It's always, oh wow, yeah. Nothing's happening. It's not moving. Oh, yeah, wow. It's unknowable. Wow. So, yeah, there's a surprise.
Yeah, it's interesting now because on one hand the words are there's some radical sentences in this about that there is no person. That is, you don't hear that often. That as a sentence, it just
no one hears that.
Yeah, that's right. Flatline.
Yeah,
that's right. Flatline. Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, the last thing something like this is the last thing I think it is theoretical or intellectual, and that I think sometimes it can come across quite, depending on where you read about it or whatever, it can come across as theoretical, whereas it is the last thing. It has to be the last thing it is to do with thinking or the mind, because a baby doesn't fucking know anything, and they seem to be happy out sucking on a bottle, let's just say. Just in case somebody gets offended. Yeah.
So that's probably it. I mean, is there anything else to talk about?
No, sorry, that probably is it. Yeah, that probably is it. Sorry, it's not like I just kind of.
They're often pretty short, these chats. I'm surprised it's gone as long as it has, actually.
You probably could be over within 15 minutes too. It could probably be easily. Just
there's nothing happening. Yeah.
Comes to an absolute still. I kind of have an hour in my mind, which is but really, yeah, but really 15 minutes probably could be over in 15 minutes. Even, it could be. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So what's to be said, really? What can you say?
Well, yeah, this is it. Nothing's happening.
pretty cool to get to talk to you all the same. I'm all the way over there in Perth. I've never been to Perth. I intend to spend time in Australia for my kids.
Yeah, beautiful country.
Yeah, you're from. That sounds like a bit of it's well, southern England, is it?
Geordie.
It's Geordie. How dare I?
Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
Newcastle. Yeah.
Jesus, that's a disgrace.
I've been out in Australia now for about 16 years.
Have you?
So I've travelled all the way around.
Okay.
And I've settled in WA for now, anyway.
Okay.
I've been here a couple of years. And, yeah, beautiful place, beautiful neck of the woods.
Yeah. Jesus, sorry, I said the south of England there. I knew I had to. Yeah.
I spent quite a bit of time in London.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you can hear Geordie though. That's for sure. Jesus, yeah. How would you come back from beautiful sunny Australia with the beach on your doorstep to?
Well, it was 38 degrees today, and the beach is literally 10 minutes away down the road. The most spectacular beach. So yeah, I'm actually sweating here. It's very humid. We had an amazing thunderstorm, lightning storm.
I actually thought I saw something in the background there, but it's probably just a light switching on and off.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, the storm passed there a little while ago.
Okay.
And I was getting a bit concerned about my cat.
Oh.
He doesn't like being out in the storms.
Yeah,
and he's not come home.
Not come home. Okay.
He's not come home. No.
Oh, Jesus, he's probably hiding somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. Look, thanks so much, man. That was pretty cool.
No, Frank.
We might talk again sometime.
Yeah, sure. I'd love that.
Yeah. We'll probably last 10 minutes. And then we can talk about football.
I really enjoy following your work. I think you do some really great podcasts. It's quite unique. I don't know anybody else kind of in this arena.
Yeah.
And I love watching you struggle through the chats. Yeah.
Hi, if you like the conversation that I just had and you'd like more, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you.
Frank, morning, man.